40 people were watching every single night, and nobody said a word. No walls, no doors, no rooms, no privacy of any kind. Your ancestors were completely exposed to their entire tribe, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 290,000 years. And the craziest part? They were not suffering. They were not embarrassed. They actually had something that most modern couples have completely lost. Right now, you wake up in a private bedroom. You close the bathroom door. You whisper to your partner so the kids do not hear. That feels completely normal to you. But that feeling, that moment of privacy you took for granted this morning, is one of the newest inventions in all of human history. Newer than the wheel. Newer than farming. Newer than written language. For 290,000 years, couples were intimate, argued, cried, loved, and lived their entire lives inside a circle of 40 people with absolutely nowhere to hide. And here's the question that changes everything. How did they actually manage? Because the answer is not what you expect. Ancient humans built something far more powerful than walls. They built a system so sophisticated that modern couples have no idea it even existed. And once you understand it, you will never think about your own relationship the same way again. Part 1. The world they lived in. Picture this. It is 50,000 years ago, somewhere in Africa. No houses, no rooms, no furniture of any kind. Just a fire. And around that fire, your entire world. 15 to 50 people, eating together, sleeping together, living together. Every single day. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar at Oxford University spent decades studying hunter-gatherer societies across every continent on Earth. His finding was remarkable. The average group stayed within 50 feet of each other during almost every waking hour. 50 feet! That is roughly the length of a school bus. And inside that school bus, every person knew everything about everyone else. If you argued with your partner, 40 people heard it. If you were sick, 40 people knew before you said a single word. If you felt desire, you felt it inside that same 50-foot circle, with absolutely nowhere to go. And here is the detail that changes everything. This was not the condition of the poor or the unlucky. The strongest hunters lived this way. The most respected elders lived this way. The leaders lived this way. Nobody in the entire group had privacy. The concept simply did not exist. Part 2. The system they built. So what did they do instead? This is where it gets genuinely fascinating. They built privacy out of agreement, not out of stone, not out of wood, not out of walls, out of a shared decision about what people would and would not acknowledge. Anthropologist David Sampson spent years living with the Hadza people of Tanzania, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer populations, whose lifestyle most closely resembles ancient humans. He documented 3 behaviors so consistent across his observations that they functioned like unwritten law. The first, darkness. When the fire burned low and natural light disappeared, the entire social contract of the group quietly shifted. Darkness was not just cover, it was a shared signal. Everyone understood what it meant. Everyone agreed to behave as though they did not notice. No words needed, no awkward conversations, just a collective, silent understanding passed down for thousands of generations. The second, distance. Moving 50 to 100 feet away from the sleeping group, in near complete darkness, was understood without a single word being spoken. And Sampson found the exact same pattern across every forager group he studied. the Hadza of Tanzania, the Agta of the Philippines, the Ake of Paraguay. Same rule. Every culture, every continent. You move, no one follows. That was the law. The third behavior was the most sophisticated of all: collective silence. Not the silence of people who do not know, the silence of people who have agreed not to acknowledge what they know. Anthropologist Colin Turnbull lived with the Mbuti people of Central Africa for years. He noted that the Mbuti had no word for privacy, not because they were unsophisticated, but because the behavior itself required no word. It was simply understood. You do not comment on what you did not see. 3 rules. No materials required. Just trust. Part 3. The Dark Twist. Now here is where the story takes a dark turn that nobody talks about. Around 10,000 years ago, everything changed. Humans began farming. Farming meant staying in one place. Staying meant building. Building meant walls. And for the first time in the entire history of the species, you could close a door. You would think that would be a liberation. It was not. Archaeologist Ian Hodder at Cambridge University analyzed Katohoyuk, a 9,000-year-old settlement in modern Turkey, one of the earliest examples of permanent human housing. He found something nobody expected. The moment walls appeared, interpersonal violence went up. Tool damage consistent with fighting. Skeletal trauma between individuals measurably increased. The walls gave people separation. They also gave people something to defend. Privacy created the concept of mine. Mine meant someone else could take it, and mine had never existed before. Even after walls appeared, privacy remained a luxury for most of human history. In medieval Europe, entire families shared a single room. Children sharing mattresses with 3 or 4 siblings was not poverty. That was simply normal life, as recently as the 1800s. The private bedroom that you woke up in this morning became a common feature of ordinary life somewhere around 1920. 100 years ago, out of 300,000 years of human history, the last 0.03%. Part 4. What we lost. And in that tiny 0.03%, something started happening to us that had never happened before in the entire existence of our species. Today, the average adult in the developed world spends more time alone than any human being in 300,000 years of history. We have more physical privacy than any humans who have ever lived on this planet. And yet, the World Health Organization has classified loneliness as a global public health crisis. People are reporting fewer close friends than at any point in recorded history. Depression, anxiety, social isolation, climbing in every country that has achieved the kind of privacy ancient humans never had. The walls worked. We got everything we built them for. And we are more disconnected from each other than at any moment in the entire history of our species. Ancient couples did not have a door to close. They did not have a room to disappear into. What they had was something far more valuable. They had a system built entirely on trust. Not just trust in their partner, but trust in the entire group around them. Privacy for them was never a wall between people. It was an agreement between people. They saw each other fully, completely, with nowhere to hide, and they chose to protect each other anyway. The Mbuti had no word for privacy because what they needed to name were their relationships. Every person, every role, every bond. We have 100 words for types of rooms. We struggle to name what we feel when we are in them. alone. For 290,000 years, humans were never truly alone. They found ways to be private without ever being isolated. They built intimacy, not by separating from the group, but by trusting it. Then we built walls, and we have been trying to find each other through them ever since. Maybe the real question is not how ancient couples managed without privacy. Maybe the real question is, what did we lose the moment we got it?